The pasuk that says "Vayimaru es chayehem ba'avoda kasha," parsha of 2 weeks ago, that the Mitzrayim embittered the lives of the Yidden ba'avoda kasha with difficult work. And the Rebbe asks a question: how do you embitter the life of a Yid? The life of a Yid is kedusha, is holiness. How do you embitter the holiness of a Yid? And the Rebbe explains. We know that it says the Mitzrayim made the Yidden do avodas perach. What is avodas perach? So it's translated commonly as hard, rigorous, back-breaking labor. The word perach actually means to break. So how do you define avodas perach? So most of us say, so the Yidden, they were schlepping stones and they were building pyramids, whatever they were doing. That's manual, difficult labor, the schlepping, and that they probably work for many, many hours. But interestingly, according to halacha, that's not the definition of beferach. There's a halacha benegate in Hilchas Avadim. The Torah says, "Leisirda by befarach." We're not allowed to work with an eved befarach. If you have an eved, you have a servant, you're not allowed to assign to the servant avodas perach. Okay, so since it's a halacha, we need to quantify. What is that? If I have an eved, what kind of work am I not allowed to tell him? If I need to build a house, am I not allowed to tell him to build, to schlep the stones? What are the work hours? Do I have to contact OSHA? Is that the right organization, government organization? What?
Maybe it means degrading work.
So the halacha is, and as defined in the Rambam, Voida she'ein lo kitzva ve'ein lo toyelas. It's work that has no end and has no use. It has no purpose. What did the Mitzrayim do? They made the Yidden do work which was pointless, because we know Pishem and Ramses, they were built on unstable ground, and when the Yidden would build, it would crumble. It would sink into the ground. So why were the Mitzrayim making the Yidden do it? Not because they needed it, but because they wanted to make the Yidden work hard. Avodas perach is to do work, a work which doesn't have any end to it. Ein la kitzva, has no limit to it. Ve'ein la tiyalas, it has no point. And those two are connected. When a work has a tiyalas, if there's a point to the work, so then there's a kitzva, then there's a limit. Why? Because when you arrive at the tiyalas, you arrive at the objective, then the work ends. But what if the work has no tiyalas? If the work has no objective, then there's then ein la kitzva. It also has no limited also. So according to halacha, if I have a servant and I'm building a house, I'm beferish allowed to tell my servant to schlep the stones. But if there's a break because the construction suppliers didn't deliver the stones, and I'm looking at my servant out there and he's just lying on the lawn over there, and he's getting a tan, I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. He shouldn't be doing nothing. So I tell him, do me a favor, heat me up. Go to the stove and heat me up a cup of water. No, I don't need the cup of water. That's avodas perach, and that's not allowed. Because that's avodah she'ein la kitzva ve'ein la te'ela. So that the schlepping the stones is fine. But the heating up the water, which requires almost zero effort, that's avodas perach. That's a avodah that breaks a person. The Rebbe says something interesting. The Rebbe says, avodah she'ein la kitzva ve'ein la te'ela, work which has no limit and has no objective, is the rightful domain of the nefesh halikis. When I serve Hashem, there is no limit to the work, and there is no objective to the work. Why do I serve Hashem? Because I want to serve Hashem. In the words of the Alter Rebbe that he says in a Maimer, he says, "Ilu nistavinu lachte veitzim." If instead of giving us 613 beautiful mitzvahs, the Eibishter told us we had one mitzvah, which is every day you have to take our axes and go out to the forest before Zman chopping wood. And chop wood all day until Tzesek Achavim, and then leave the wood there and go back home, and then tomorrow go and tackle a different area of the forest, and there was no purpose whatsoever. We would do that with the same simcha. And why is that? Because you go to the Nefesh Elokis, and you ask Nefesh Elokis, what do you want to do? He says, I want to serve Hashem. And you say, okay, that's great, Nefesh Elokis, but what are you trying to accomplish? Nothing. I'm not trying to accomplish anything. So when are you going to be finished this? In other words, when will you have felt that you have? Never. As long as I'm living, I am going to serve Hashem, and that's all I want. And then you tell Nefesh Elokis, let me explain to you the objective of what you're doing. And Nefesh Elokis says, no, I'm not interested in hearing. Don't hack me a chaynik. Why am I serving Hashem? Because I love Hashem and I want to serve Hashem. So avodas perach, avodah she'ein la kitzva ve'ein la tiyalas, is the rightful domain of the nefesh halikis. And what did the Mitzrim do? They took this property of the nefesh halikis, avodah she'ein la kitzva ve'ein la tiyalas, and they directed it towards worldly matters instead of Torah and mitzvahs where it belongs. And that's why Yemaru was chayim. That's how they embittered the life. They diverted this very special energy, this Pnimius Alev energy, which is supposed to be for Hashem only and not for this world, and they diverted it for worldly matters. What is the idea of Mitzrayim? Mitzrayim means that a person goes into that we go to work and we say, how many hours of work am I putting into the office today? I don't know. As many as I need. There's no kitzvah. I need to make more money. Now, truth is, this is ein la tiyalas. There's no tiyalas. There's no point in this. Why? Because you could work 20 hours a day, but you're not going to make a cent more than Hashem has preordained for you. So it's ein la kitzvah ve'ein la tiyalas, and that's Galus Mitzrayim. Galus Mitzrayim is when we are involved in this world without any limits, and without even realizing it's also without really any objective.